Okay, hi everybody. I'm sorry I was late getting in the door and just now got my presets and everything going. I think we're good. This is only the second week I've done this live, and I'm hoping that I'll have other participants in here tonight, but so far it's just me and I don't see any other viewers. As time goes on, hopefully I'll get more of a backdrop behind me and everything, but I'm new to all this. I don't Skype much or anything like that, so I just kind of have to play with it as I go along. Let me grab a couple things here. All turned around. As always, the Invisible Hand Show is about the concepts in this book, written by Larry K. Mason. I guess his name's not on here anyway. You gotta look in here. Which, after the show, I will have the web URL across the top of here when the video is rendered. And excuse me, I have no viewers at the moment, and my cat wants out of the room, so I'm going to oblige him. Be right back. So here we are. And one of the things that I've been wanting to discuss is homelessness. Right now, the homeless have been more and more kind of shoved into places they don't want to be. The feeding programs that people have set up are being attacked everywhere, and it's getting to be a major situation. But with the non-POM or non-physical object money, which I like to call free market money for lack of a better term, with the system that we promote and the type of money that we recommend using, the homeless wouldn't be homeless unless they absolutely wanted to be. As in, for perhaps someone so claustrophobic they couldn't stand to be inside a building. Whatever be the case, people who wanted a place to stay would have a place to stay. People would not go hungry. As I've said before, some of the basic tenets of this system are that necessities are free. Food, nutritious, healthy food, basic, decent clothing, shelter, again, basic housing, basic transportation, like say the bus, all levels of education, and all health care and related needs, whether it be preventative care, surgeries, etc., and so on. With the exclusion and exceptions being the luxury items. Necessities are free, luxuries are not, but there would be a consensus on the dividing line, because the people would overall not settle for certain things being considered luxuries when everybody needs them. For example, We believe that internet would be considered a necessity and therefore available to everybody at no cost. The providers would be paid based on the benefit they generated by providing it. But back to homelessness. If you owned a building and you let people stay there, and in letting people stay there, you improve their lives, you're going to be paid handsomely for letting them stay in your building. No, they don't pay it, especially if they have no income. But if you have standard housing, not luxury housing, if you have a building of standard housing, they're not expected to pay for that. Luxury housing, of course, you might own your own house, and you might own a huge house. As a matter of fact, you might own a large house in which you have a business. And in that case, the additional income from the business, based on the net benefit generated by that business, would qualify that portion of your house as capital goods. So you could theoretically be living in a rather large house and not paying expenses for it if you're providing enough net benefit to others with what you do. And to recap the net benefit, that is derived by taking overall benefit and subtracting any negative consequences of your business or what it does or how it's conducted. So that would be minimized. People would try to minimize the negative consequences so as to maximize their income. Therefore, in a certain way, this system runs on greed. The more you want to make, the more you have to help others to get it, basically, because there's no other way to earn money in this system. You earn your money by providing benefit. And you don't have to earn any money at all. You can live on necessities alone, like the payers will. And for example, if you are currently in a career or business that will be eliminated by using this system, then you'll have all the time in the world to retrain or do as you please. If you want to be an artist, if you want to write the great American novel, if you just want to stay home and raise your kids, you won't have to have income to support yourself. Your necessities will be covered. So while you're making the transition from what you used to do to what you're going to do, you won't be suffering. If you are trying to get into the show, please forgive me. I do not know how any of this works. I don't see any other viewers right now, so I'm just going to keep talking, but please feel free to join me and jump in at any time. I really hope someone will. And I just had surgery on my sinuses yesterday, so if I look a little puffy around this area, that's why. But I felt good enough to do the show, and I really want to get people as excited as I am about this hope we have for a system that can eliminate all of the negative and parasitic aspects of capitalism and benefit anyone who chooses to be a part of it. Some of the aspects of this system have made people nervous, but as we've pointed out, those aspects are going to be around whether we choose to accept them or not. The question is, who's going to be in charge? Who is going to watch the cameras? Who is going to enforce whatever mechanisms we live by? And personally, I'm not comfortable with the continuation of the police state and authoritarian atmosphere we promote a cooperative atmosphere, a voluntary atmosphere in which people participate in transactions and trades and whatnot voluntarily by choice, and not it's a real free market. There is no meddling. There are no regulations. It's all pretty much self-regulating. And you see that a lot. Back to the homeless. The homeless tend to have their own economy, and there's actually quite a lot of underground and black market economy surrounding them that they're not necessarily involved in, but that they see every day nonetheless. On the black market, you'll have people doing transactions that range from stolen goods to simply selling necklaces they make that they're selling under the table, under the radar, what we call agorism, or voluntary or Anarcho-Capitalism. Basically selling what I make to you in a private transaction without the government reaching out for a portion of that and without their regulations interfering. And many people are nervous about that, saying, well, who's going to protect, blah, blah, blah. Well, the system will protect, because the system is geared toward benefit. So those negative consequences will actually affect someone's future income, possibly for life, if they are to cheat or otherwise not provide the benefit promised. Right now, there's so many regulations, it's hard for people to even successfully get a business going. And that's making the huge mega corporations more of an advantage than they should have. And honestly, the little guy doesn't have much of a chance. When you're on a one-to-one basis at the bottom levels of society, when people are just trying to have enough to eat, they can't afford to give a portion of that away for any purpose. So at the very least, under our current laws, people should be tax exempt up to a certain amount, the way I see it. But that's neither here nor there, because we're not talking about that system. The system we're talking about has no taxes whatsoever. And without reading the book Invisible Hand first, it's very hard to grasp. And as I've mentioned before, Larry spent over a quarter century trying to explain it to people and getting blank looks and glassy stares. So after he wrote the novel and I read it and agreed with him that this can be done and should be done, we developed a website where you can read the entire text of the novel or download the MP3s that he read in his own voice. The author, that is, Larry. Or you can also read articles there, but I recommend that you read or listen to the novel before you read any of the articles or supporting material, because then you'll understand it all much better. The aspects of this system that benefit everyone are pretty immediately obvious, but it won't be immediate or easy. It requires an infrastructure, a computer infrastructure for one, cooperation, and there will be a necessary recruitment of the payers to make that part of it work. But the alternatives are so dystopian and downright scary. I would prefer to see us heading toward a cooperative future where we're not all deliberately tearing each other apart. Is it probable? I don't know. Is it possible? I believe it is. And those of us who have read Larry's work and talked with him extensively and talked among ourselves, we all believe that this can be done, or we would have given up by now. I've been a believer for a decade, so I mean, you may call me a kook. I am a little nutty, but I don't tend to run after every wild fad and conspiracy and whatnot. I take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt, but this is just too intelligent, too rational, too logical to ignore. When it comes to implementation, there is going to be a significant transition. You're talking about taking everyone's accounts of every sort, bank accounts and stocks and bonds and all of that, and consolidating it into one computer account that works more like video game points than our current money. You're talking about taking every mortgage and loan, and at the moment of transition, all of those properties will be owned outright by the people who were paying for them, and whoever lent them the money will instantly at transition get it. However, since only people can have money under the free market money system, if the money is owed to a bank or whatnot, it won't actually be returned to the bank. It'll go to the bank's stockholders or what have you, into their consolidated accounts, as the banks and those kinds of institutions will cease to exist after the transition. There won't be any more banks. There won't be any more insurance companies, because all of those functions will be treated differently under the new system. Again, if you're in a career that focuses on those things, you'll have plenty of time to figure out what you want to do, and you won't starve in the meantime. All the money you currently have, you'll still have. All the properties you currently own, you'll still own, with the exception being that you won't have a mortgage on any of them anymore. You won't be paying taxes on any of them anymore. You won't have to insure any of them anymore. It's just, I know it sounds like I'm talking about a utopian dream, but it's not. It really isn't. And we realize that changing money is not going to eliminate mental illness. It's not going to solve every problem the world has, but it can solve a significant number of the problems we face and put us on the road to dealing better with others. So we see so many reasons to do this and so few reasons to try anything else, particularly because everything else we have, and by we I mean those of us who believe in this idea, everything else that we have read and learned falls short, while this has the promise and potential of succeeding beyond anyone's wildest expectations. It has some socialist type of elements, I suppose, except for the fact that not there's no government, so it's not socialism in your classic sense. It's socialist to the degree that everybody has health care, everybody has food, clothing, shelter. So socially speaking, it provides a different sort of safety net than what we consider to be the safety net at the current time, the welfare system, the food stamps and whatnot. Um, but again, only good and basic healthy things are going to be considered necessities. When it comes to things like food, for example, if you want foods that are not so good for you, they're going to be considered luxuries, and they're going to be expensive, because that they're going to want to discourage you from engaging in activities such as eating things that are bad for your health. Things like cigarettes would probably be expensive for the same reason. Anything that is not particularly good for you. On the other hand, they would be available. They just wouldn't be considered necessities, and therefore they would not be provided free to the consumer. However, that being said, very few people would be completely flat broke other than payers, because they choose to be payers and therefore can only live on necessities. But the average person will get paid for just about everything they do, from helping a little old lady across the street, picking up trash, homeschooling your own children, or even just raising your children in general. Any things that you do that benefit others and benefit society, you'll be paid for. So it wouldn't be that hard to rack up some income for the luxuries you want. You want a sports car, you want whatever. And even then, if you buy a sports car and you race it, it might be considered capital goods. You might not have to pay for it, or you might get your money returned for the benefit it does the people who enjoy your racing, or whatever. The possibilities with this system are so enormous, and I can't believe that I'm just rambling on in a half-hour monologue twice in a row like this, but my time is almost over. I only have 7 minutes left, and I've filled it up. I did stammer and run on a little bit, but it's going to be a lot more fun when there's actually somebody here to have a conversation with, and hopefully next week that's going to be the case. Larry had to coach a game tonight, so he couldn't be here, but with any luck, he'll be here next week. And if somebody is trying to get in and I haven't figured out how to let them in, I do apologize. Please tell me in the comments after the show's been rendered as a video on YouTube, and I'll try to do better next week. I really appreciate you listening to what I've had to say, especially if you got this far and you're watching me all the way to the end. God bless you. I'm really inexperienced and a bit nervous, but I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting this out there and hoping that one day there'll be so many people that we exceeded the limits of this hangout and have to move on to a larger forum of some sort. But this is my pebble, this is my ripple, and it's been a lot of fun so far, building the website and getting involved with the whole project, from where we are now to where we hope to get. I don't know what could be the timeline. Do you see this happening in 5 years, 10, 20? I don't know. It's really up to you. It's up to the people who sink their teeth into this project and actively work to make it happen. I've been doing everything I know how to do within my limited capabilities, but I know there's people out there listening to me or will be listening to this after it's rendered as a video that have capabilities far beyond mine, and we're eager to have you join us anytime. The more the merrier. This is not my thing. This is not Larry's thing. This is everyone's thing. This is a fundamental change in the way money works, and in changing that, it changes everything by virtue of the fact that the non-POM or free market money can't be used for negative purposes. It's just, and again, without reading the book, trying to explain that is a bit like talking to a brick wall, because people do tend to have some difficult questions better answered by reading Invisible Hand first. So please, if you are going to join us next week to talk about the system, if you have not already read or listened to Invisible Hand, I urge you to go to our website and to do that before you tune in and join us. And then we can have a much more effective and intelligent conversation going forward. Besides that, you can contact us through the website or through our Facebook profiles, through Voluntary Virtues here. And we look forward to hearing from you and hearing any suggestions and advice for furthering what we're doing. And gosh, right now I'm just trying to kill the last couple minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up and call it a night and say goodbye.